Back in action now. Ooh, that's some low quality. Does it really look that bad? Oh, it doesn't. Okay, it looks fine. It's just my computer. That's fine. What's up, everybody? Who's nobody? Because I kicked everybody out of the stream when the first stream messed up. Can you hear my mic all right? Good, sounds good, nice levels. Okay, great. Alright, thanks guys. So I'm going to turn that down a little bit so I can talk. Just wanted to talk a little bit about my setup and the patch that I played at the EMS birthday celebration. I saw a bunch of comments in the chat talking about the palette, questions about modules and how I had things wired up. Always appreciate that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to respond to any of them because the stream cut out after my performance. And there was a new stream, and the chat thread got lost. So I wanted to talk about it here. So I did share my modular grid on the Discord, so if you're not on the Discord, definitely get on there, check it out. But just from left to right, the modules I have are the Nipro Crate, which is a 3-channel modulation. This is my newest one. I was waiting for this for a long time. Pamela's new workout, Ornament and Crime, running hemispheres, the Erica Synth Pico Drum 2, the 2 HP snare, the Erica Synth Pico Voice, the 2 HP MMF, the Erica Synth Pico Mix. You see a little pattern here. So I get it all in. The Befacco Kickall, the Noise Reap Paradox Dual Oscillator, the I never understand what's going on with WMD and Steady State Fate. Do the Steady State Fate make their own modules? I don't even know. But this is the Pole Zero low pass filter. Bastel Skis 2 is dual VCA and decay envelope generator, and a 2 HP mix. And then down here, I'll go backwards. When you output headphones, I did hack this so that the signal going out here also goes out here. I just like soldered a wire onto the back of the jack. Mosaic 1U mono reverb, IntelliJo Quadrat. This is a DIY module, and I call it the 2 oct control. It is exactly what it says: 2 octaves of CV control, and it can be either it's quantized, so it can be either major, chromatic, or minor, and it can go from 0 to 2 volts or 1 to 3 volts, because I found out Pico Voice doesn't track below 1 volt, which is kind of ridiculous, but what can you do? You get a lot of other good stuff out of that. So okay, SSF does make their own. That's good to know. Good to know. It's always hard on Modular Grid to know which one to look for. You know, these are the struggles of our people. No, but so those are the modules. That's the case. This has been mostly my case for a while. The crate replaced. Shoot, what was that called? The Pusher. It was a 2-channel CV recorder, but in this patch, I'm actually using all just random voltages, which is another reason why I like this over what I had before. I changed out the filter, but most of this was a digiverb before. Most of this has been how it is, and probably how it will stay for quite some time, because I don't know if I can optimize it beyond this. I'm already fitting in so much stuff. I think any trade outs would have to come with sacrifice. One thing I am interested in, the Kickall, as great as it sounds, I actually use it more as a synth voice than as a kick, because it's lacking a little bit of the punch, which is why I have the drum 2 in here also. And I'd like to maybe play around with, I can't remember, WMD's I can't remember what it is. Not the Fracture, the Crucible. Is that it? Robbie, the filter I had in here before was the Filthy by After Ladder Audio. Very decent filter. I got it cheap. It's one of my starter modules. My dream is to replace this actually with the Steve's MS-22, as most people's dreams are. But that would also give me 2 more HP, which would give me the space to swap out the Kickall for the WMD. I can't think of what it is, but not that important. For the WMD kick, but if I do replace this, I want something that can also hold down melody, like the Kickall does really well. But yeah, this is a really great filter. It's got really great saturation on it. Just something that I wanted, and why I swapped it out over the Filthy, even though the Filthy was a multi-mode filter. But I have a multi-mode filter over here, so I kind of felt like, do I really need 2 multi-mode filters? Who knows? It's working out. Also, it has a built-in VCA, which I'm using in this patch, because I'm using the 2 VCAs to modulate other stuff. So I'll get to that. All right, so let's start off this patch with the kick. All right, should be able to hear me. So this is just a kick all. It's coming from channel 1 of Pam's, which is a 16th note gate that I have in Euclidean pattern with 16 steps and 7 triggers, and just put 25 skip on it, and then waited until I heard something I like and looped it on 8 beats. And so ended up with this. I'm afraid to unloop it so we can hear. Actually, I have this patch saved, so I can. So. I guess this is what it sounds like. Oh, no, this isn't skip. This is still. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Anyways. Let this back up. Sorry, I just covered everything up with my hand. I should have set this up better. Thanks, Shock Value. I love explaining stuff because I'm my father's son. So I'm glad that I'm glad you're enjoying this. Yeah, there was a comment in the. I'm not this narcissistic that I just did it on my own. There was a comment in my stream when I performed saying it would be awesome if Benny Rose did a stream explaining the patch. So that's what I'm doing. I just give the people what they want. But I'm totally happy to talk. Because I've just been, trying to get my friends who aren't into modular to listen to me talk about this stuff. So I'm happy to have an outlet to talk about it. I know a lot of you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, anyways, 130 BPM, forgot to mention that. You can barely read this thing because my webcam's garbage, but sorry, I'll work on that. So yeah, the kick is just Euclidean pattern with some skipping in it, and it's looped to kind of just keep that pattern around. So started off on the kick all, just some loose bend, good decay. I start on the sine. I eventually wavefold it, and then this actually becomes my bass line too when I extend the decay. And let me turn that down because that's probably super annoying. I have my DIY module with the quantized pitch out. The 2 octaves is quantized right now, set to minor pitch out. It's going into this buffered malt because I forgot to put a buffer on the module. You're not my father's son. Oh, we could have been brothers. I forgot to put a buffer on the module, so it stopped working well. So I've been running it through this buffered malt to just, buffer it. And it goes into this, so. So yeah, tracks. And you can hear it in major. Or chromatic. Anyways. Yeah, so I use that to play the bass line, halfway through once I bring the bass in. Oh, whoops, I'm in major here. So that's the kick. Actually, this whole patch didn't start with that kick. It started off with this. I got the drum 2 and wanted to try modulating the mode right? So one of the things you can do with this is have the CV1 input changing the mode. So like if I take that out, it's just a hats. And that is coming from the crate over here on channel 3, which you can see is looped. Right? And it's just getting triggered by a 16th note. I almost always have my channel 8 just a solid 16th note going into this mult. So I can clock things, clocking the crate 2, clocking the shift register on the ornament crimes hemisphere. It is triggering this drum 2 16th notes, and it is also triggering the Pico voice 16th notes. So yeah, so that's getting triggered 16th notes, but the mode is getting shifted in a 1-bar loop. Sorry, my big head got in the way again. And then for the pitch, this is coming from channel 1 of the crate, which is not looped, and is attenuated a bit, is only unipolar as opposed to the bipolar here. And no, wait, maybe these are both. Never mind, these are both unipolar. Yeah, you know, this is the fun part of modular, where you're like, is this input bipolar or unipolar? You know, it's a digital module. Do they go out of their way to make it accept bipolar? You just kind of play around and see what works. So yeah, that's getting a different note randomly each time. This is also being stack multed out to here. I'll get into that a little bit. But yeah, that's 2 channels of the crate affecting that. And then, you know, I got the param 2 halfway up, which is usually some sort of like distortion or something. But, you know, if I turn up the decay, definitely. And also, yeah, everything is going into this 1U out and then going through the KP Mini. This is Core KP Mini 2. Eats batteries like crazy, but it is pretty great. And I just have a reverb, a delay, and I had a looper set up, but it wasn't great, so I just swapped it out for a distortion. But I randomly found this delay right before I started, and I'm glad I did because it totally saved my butt in terms of making the performance more interesting. So thank God for that delay. So yeah, so it started. The patch started with this, and then I added in that kick. And then I actually added in my 2 HP snare, which I normally love. What do I have going on here? I have that just getting triggered from channel 2 of Pam's, which is also 16th note. With the apparently wide learning stuff, as I mentioned. Anyways, it's another Euclidean pattern, just 16 steps. It's taking. This was originally just set to 1. I set it to CV so that I could. Oh, I didn't even turn this up. So I could change this knob to increase the density. Oh, the kick is from the kick-off, Bifaka kick-off. Which also doubles as my bass line when I turn the decay up. Because I'm pitching it from this guy over here. Which is this is just 2 octaves of quantized pitch. Right now it's in minor mode. Yeah, Crater, thank you. Yes. I don't want to replace it with a Crater. I love the kick-off. It was my first dream module, you know, like when it was in every rack I built on Modular Grid before. I actually got my first modular. It was the first one that like I bought a bunch of just whatever was available secondhand when I started, and Kickall was the first one that I was like, I want this. I'm gonna spend the extra money on this and not just get the deals. But it's letting me down a little bit on the kick front. Doesn't let me down on the like, as a synth voice, it's amazing, but it feels kind of silly having it in as a synth voice. So I might replace it with Crater one day, because Crater has a bit more punch to it, and it's also a pretty good synth voice. So I guess I'll just have to buy it and keep both, so we'll find out. So yeah, so we got these two things going on. Got the snare hit. The snare was surprisingly weak to me, so I ended up booting up the Boots and Cats kick and drum app on Hemispheres, and layering in the snare there. And this worked really well. I was pretty happy with this in terms of the rhythm for what's going on. So that's all the drums. Gives you a lot to play with. All right. Next is let me turn that snare back down. I'm actually gonna turn this down too. Next is the Pico voice. I originally had this as another bass line, but it was getting lost in the decay of the Kickall. So that's when I realized, what if I just use the decay of the Kickall for the bass line? And then I was able to use the Pico voice in chord mode, which is something I'd been wanting to do for a long time. As like a big Mylar fan, he always talks about flats being in chord mode like 99% of the time. And I always thought my Pico voice would be that way too, but I end up using it for bass most of the time. And it's really good at that. In the super saw mode, I often turn on sync, and it sounds really fat that way. So, but here I got to use it finally in chords. And what I have going on here is, again, I said, 16th notes triggering here. Let me just turn off that modulation. Short decay. It's going out of here into the multi-mode filter, which I often pair it with. And then out of the low pass mode into the mix over here. I have this knob here. Let me turn that down. I have this knob here with nothing plugged in, so it's just a unipolar offset going into the cutoff of the multi-mode filter. So I have control over that, because God help you if you want to actually change any parameters of a 2 HP module. I almost always route one of my Quadrat knobs to the cutoff on that MMF. And it's just playing like a minor sus4, I think it is. sus2? I don't know. Don't at me. I don't know my music theory. Right, so that's control over that, but I wanted it to do this sweeping kind of swelling thing. So I took, what is it, channel 7 of Pam's, and no, this isn't it. It's not channel 7. Sorry, channel 5, which is divided by 2, so it's happens, whatever that means. Triangle, and the width is 100, so it's basically a ramp up. It turns it into a ramp up. And that lets me apply that right. So with a combo of this, I can kind of like set the amount of ramp, amount of movement. So I think I started with pretty low. So that's everything up to now. Kind of gives it a bit of a side chaining effect, right? It's done with the filter instead of a VCA, but it still gives it, when the filter's low, it gives it a bit of a side chaining effect. But as I turn up the filter, it just adds some movement. And yeah, so that's the chords. The pitch doesn't change for that, but as I mentioned earlier, I took the random from channel 1 and routed it in here and sent that to the CV in on the voice, and that is going to randomly affect the decay, which is param 2 here. So I have this on bipolar, so if I turn it to the left, it has a negative effect and closes it down the decay. But if I turn it up, it will expand the decay. And if I leave it in the middle, it just leaves decay where it was. So I started with this pretty choppy and eventually made it nice and long. So yeah, so that's chords. The last part is definitely the most complex, all this stuff going on over here. It is the paradox, excuse me, into the pole 0 filter into the skis. Actually, not into the skis. No. The skis is by itself. It goes out of the pole 0 because it has a built-in VCA into the reverb and then into the mix. So the reverb's just on this, which is why I have this as well. And so what's going on here, let's actually turn this down. Yeah, let's turn this up. So this is channel 4 of Pam's, is acting as a gate for this voice. I have oh man, how do I even break this down? It's so wonky. Well, let's start. So the paradox is a dual VCO. I have this tuned to 5th part. The mix of these, which is the sawtooth and square outputs, is going into the filter. And then, as I mentioned, it's going out of there into the reverb. And there's a lot of modulation happening. So first, I have the triangle going into this VCA on skis and out into the 1 volt per octave on the pole 0. And that, if I get rid of this modulation, right, so stock, this is just standard. Standard, and so this is auto rate modulation on the filter. Gives it that harsh sound, and with the saturation turned up, adds to it not too much resonance. The FM input on this is actually the decay envelope from channel A here. So it's a long decay on the filter FM. It's a short one. This is the decay of the amp envelope that's going into the amp CV here. And I'll get into that in a sec, but the filter, the triangle is first going into this VCA and then into the 1 volt per octave. Chill out. But I didn't want it to just be constantly, fully modulated at audio rate. So I have a channel from, where is it? I don't even know. Let's find out together. From Pam's. I think it's doing smooth random. Let's see. Yeah, smooth random. And it's just times 1, so every beat. It is changing values and changing the amount of audio rate modulation that is affecting this filter. So that's really adding a lot of movement to the voice there by itself. I mentioned the trigger. Yeah, the trigger here is just a 16th note with R skip on it. Right now it's at 55%. Right, so that affects the modulation. And then similarly, I have the decay envelope from channel B going into this VCA, and another, let's see, random source from Pam's, changing every 16th note. That's channel 7. Every 16th note, just sending a random value out. Offset to 60%, so it never goes below 60%. And I'm modulating the envelope here instead of the VCA because lowering and raising the envelope will have a bigger effect on the timbre of a low-pass filter as it opens and closes. And I stole this trick from the DFAM because it ends up the velocity row of the sequencer affects 3 VCAs that all 3 envelope generators go through, and that's why it has such an organic sound. It doesn't sound just like the volumes going up and down, but it's actually changing the envelope height, which, you know, when you're talking about filter, when you're talking about VCA, it's not much of a difference, but when you're talking about filter or pitch decay, that changes where it opens from, right? So a full envelope will open from higher, but a shorter envelope, envelope that's been VCA'd to 60% will open from less high, and that gives it more dynamics rather than just volume changes. Random quantized sequence from where? The random sequence is from the shift register, which is basically, it's a turning machine. Just have a probability. You can't really see anything. I don't know why I'm pointing to it like you can. But let's see. Can you see this? You still can't read it, even though I've... I'm sorry. Anyways, ornament and crime hemisphere shift register. I'm using the logarithm branch, which has another sequencer and a Clep Diaz app. I don't really use either of those, but what I do use that he added is you can change the range of output from the shift register, which is great. And I actually started off with only an octave like this, and then I expand it to 20 semitones. And it's locked into a pentatonic minor scale because I'm lame and think that sounds good. It has a probability change of 10%. Let's just go up to 100 or let's go up to... Yeah, 10%. So, it kind of just changes slightly over time. But you know, that's outputting 16th note CV because it's clocked by a 16th note, but the trigger is not happening every time because of the R skip. Thanks, Robbie. So yeah, so that's what I got going on with this voice. I got the amount of audio rate modulation on the filters getting randomly changed. The height of the envelope on the VCA is getting randomly changed. And then I got one more randomization coming from the Turing machine. The second output here is unquantized full range. And so that's just coming to the decay for the amp envelope. So kind of just like, you know, tweaking. Am I back? Come on. Okay, now it's back again. Alright, let me see if I even can figure out how to stream it. I don't know how to change my output stream to 720. Let me just, I'm almost done. Where did I get cut off? My wife keeps reminding me that Mercury is in retrograde right now, so she said that's why Facebook went down today too, so and why I couldn't hang my TV on the wall the other night. I don't know where I got cut off. I saw I was holding this knob. I don't know if I got any. Did you hear anything about the reverb? Because that's the last piece of this patch to mention. Okay, for the amp envelope. Okay. Well, I'll try and be quick so it doesn't cut off again. Long story short, if I had just not been talking so damn much to begin with, it would have been over by the time the stream started crapping out. But yeah, we got some modulation going on here, right? The audio rate of the filter, the audio rate modulation of the filter is getting randomly, modulated. The depth of the amp envelope is getting randomly modulated, and the decay is getting randomly modulated. So that's so that is that's what's going on with the voice here, and that goes to the reverb. And I have two channels here. One is the, I think, last channel, the middle channel on crate, just sending random voltages out to the size. So that's going to change, you know, how big the decay is. And then the last thing here is this channel 6. Yeah, channel 6 on PAMs, which is divide by 4. So every whole note, right? It is going to send out a little gate to the blend, but it has a R skip of 55%. So 45% of the time, it'll send out a little gate to the blend, which is kind of going to just like turn it up, right? And fully saturate the signal rather than you know, mixing the dry and wet. It's just going to be fully wet, and but it's just going to give like a little burst of that fully wet sound. So I thought that was kind of nice, rather than doing kind of random modulation, have something more intentional. And yeah, and that's just getting sent out to the mix, which is going out, you know, into this with everything else. So the whole patch sounds like this. Okay, it's a little long. Bass in. Helps if you keep your effects in time too, I hear. It's like something's missing here. Couldn't put my finger on it. Yeah. That is the patch. Sorry for the interruptions. Hopefully this all gets saved correctly. And any other questions before I sign off? Alright, y'all. Thanks for having me. Hope that was helpful, informative, fun. I mean, I don't pretend that I have all the secrets to modular or anything, but I had fun performing that patch and hope could share something with you. So thanks again.